Hi guys, welcome to the last section of your notes, part 6. We're going to talk about something called biological magnification, or biomagnification for short. Same thing, just depends on how, quick you're trying to be. Okay, the purpose of talking about this is to show you that it's not just energy that's passed along the food chain. Other things can be passed along the food chain as well. Okay, biological magnification refers specifically to toxins that can be passed along the way, or actual material items. Okay, so biological magnification is the increasing concentration of toxic substances within each successive link in the food chain. Now, this is not true for everything. It refers specifically to toxins that are not water soluble. So you have this little thing down here. It's not in your notes, but if you want to write it down there, you can. It is a main idea. It's not all chemicals. It's just ones that can't be dissolved in water. Okay, and we'll talk about why in a second. Okay, so over here you have a picture of water with some chemicals in it, and what I want you to notice is as you go up the food chain, you have your energy getting smaller, right? But we also have the amount of toxins getting much larger in that smaller amount. Okay, so what happens is pollutants are picked up from the algae or from the water by algae or producers. Okay, the bottom of the food chain. Okay? And the ppm here starts for parts per million. So how many pieces of the chemical are found in 1 million things of the 1 million pieces chemical or molecules of water. Okay, they pick it up by the producers, which are then eaten by the fish. Okay, now with some chemicals, if they're water soluble, the liver will clean them out and they'll flush them out of the system, and it's just part of, a waste of anything else we eat. But specifically with these types of toxins, they don't dissolve in water, and they actually get stuck in the fat or the lipids that are there. Okay, so they stay within the animal. They can get stuck in the liver, they can get stuck in the tissue, that sort of thing. Okay. Now, as the animals eat smaller animals, as this fish isn't just going to eat one piece of algae, it's going to eat many, so it ends up with all their pieces. And then this bird is not going to eat just one fish, it's going to eat a lot of them, so it's not only going to get this fish's but the other fish that it eats, and it really starts to build up. Okay, now it can do more than just harm the organism itself. It actually can cause other detrimental effects. So we're going to talk about what those are, and I'm going to go ahead and move forward into some other information. Okay, so we're going to discuss what are some different ways in which process of biological magnification can affect the ecosystem. Now, this is a picture of the Joni Mitchell album, and I love this. It's a great song. It's really up there on my list of great songs. For many reasons. But one of the lines in the song, it says, "Hey farmer, farmer, put away the DDT now. Give me spots on the apples, but leave me the birds and the bees." And then she goes, "Please." Anyways, we'll play that later next week. Okay. What she's referring to is a environmental issue that arrived in the early 60s. 1963, a ranger, a park naturalist, published a book called Silent Spring. This is Rachel Carson. Okay, it says the story of DDT and the Green Revolution. So she's discussing what environmental problems could face us with ongoing use of a chemical called DDT, which is an insecticide. Okay, and what she's advocated is to watch the use of the DDT. DDT was being used all over at that time, and she said this should be a very big concern for us, and we'll talk a little bit more about it on Monday when we get back. But DDT has been linked to the decline in bird species, of birds of prey over the years, and it is now banned in the U.S. And we'll talk more about that with your reading. Okay, so you're going to read a little bit more on the DDT and the bird crisis. But this story, along with some other things, not just this, but this is one of the major parts, is actually what started the development of the EPA and the Clean Water and Clean Air Act of the 1970s. Okay, so this was a big thing. Now, it's not just DDT that we need to worry about. There are a couple of other things. Actually, wanted to talk to you about too. There is a story about DDT and Borneo and the process of DDT and biomagnification and how it actually led to the death of many cats in Borneo that they ended up the World Health Organization ended up parachuting cats in. They did parachute cats in, but there is a little controversy on what actually caused the death of the cats, whether it was biomagnification itself or direct contact with the DDT. Okay, but even more importantly, let's talk about the big thing, because this is something we really want to pay attention to. It's biomagnification and how it's affecting us today. Okay, so this is a figure put out by the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, talking about mercury in your diets. So they recommend that we eat at least 2 servings of fish a week because it's healthy for us. You know, they talk about people always eating fish oil. Now, I don't recommend eating or taking fish oil pills every day. I'm not advocating that, but that is healthy for us. That fish, even if you don't like it, it is good for us. Okay, but this guideline shows what type of fish you should be eating. Okay, so down here, 2 to 3 meals per week. These are okay to have 2 or 3 times a week. Okay, and if you notice, we've got anchovy there. Catfish are good, which is interesting because they are bottom feeders. Okay, but they are bottom feeders. They're eating a lot of producers and detritus. Okay, but you have crayfish, herring, mackerel. Guys, if you notice, these are relatively small fish. Okay, in compared to these down here, they said you want to avoid them. Okay, they should not be eating these fish. We have mackerel, marlin, shark, tuna fish. What do you notice about the difference between these fish down here, the ones you want to avoid, and these fish down here that are okay to eat 2 or 3 times a week? These guys in the avoid are large fish. They are the top of the food chain, right? Which means they are getting all the concentrations of these things. Now it says follow these guidelines to reduce exposure to mercury, PCBs, and other contaminants. In other words, these are those toxins that can get stuck in the fat of a fish and we end up eating them. Okay, so these guys, it's okay. They're going to have some, there's no way to get away from it. There may be some mercury in there, okay, with some other ones. But these guys down here, they're going to have a lot more mercury in them per pound than these other fish. Okay, so that's something we want to keep in mind. We're finding this not only in our fish, but in other places like the Grand Canyon. We have a large amount of mercury in the fish that are there. With as the Colorado River collects everything from Colorado down through Nevada and California and Arizona, and into Arizona and Mexico. Okay. So we're going to stop right there for right now. If you have any questions, let me know, and we will talk again on Monday. Next up, you need to go ahead and do the section review quiz on NEO. All right, have a good afternoon.